Hey guys, it's Lex, and welcome back to another episode of Lipstick and Liberation, a podcast where I talk about my experiences in this world as a 40-year-old divorcee and a feminist navigating art, science, politics, just whatever I get on here and want to talk about. I have the worst migraine today, y'all, but I could not wait till the weekend for this episode. It's just too much going on. I had to get on here. There's so much going on in the world with domestic violence, a new Handmaid's Tale. I had to come on here. Thank you guys again for coming back and listening. Your support means so much. If you'd like to support monetarily, please check out the page on my Facebook page, Lipstick and Liberation. You can also see links on the podcast servicers that you're using. Through those links, you can subscribe to help me store this podcast for as little as $3 a month if you really believe in what I'm saying and doing and want to support. And hey, I know the money is tight right now, but if you got it, we would love to have it. Also, if you want to write in, if something I'm saying inspires you, if you want to share a story, you definitely can. I would love to share things like that on the air. Like I said, you can reach out to me via the podcast servicer you're on, or you can go to my Facebook page, Lipstick and Liberation, and send me a message. We definitely want to hear from you. It's so funny, like I only get a few downloads a week, and sometimes I feel like those rappers, that put out the mixtape and nobody knows who they are, and they say, you know who this is? That's how I feel some weeks, but this has been so therapeutic. I'm really having so much fun doing this. Like I said, I got a migraine, but I was like, I gotta get on here and talk about a few things. The first thing I want to say, starting out, ladies, domestic violence survivors, SA survivors, anybody out there who has experienced violence against your body, against your mind, I hope your abuser dies. No, really. I hope they just die. And it's okay if you don't feel that way. I'm going to feel that way for you because I know a lot of times we as women, we're not allowed to feel vengeful and angry. We got to be the bigger person. Got to forgive. And if you want to do that, that's fine. That's why I'm here for you. I hope that your abuser dies. And I felt that spirit so much more strongly this week with everything that happened with Cassie testifying at the Diddy trial. Like, seeing that heavily pregnant woman get up there and speak on what her abuser did to her just to make sure that he potentially goes away. So many of us are never going to get that opportunity. We never are. It's amazing that she ever did with all the power he has and all the money he has. But here she is. She survived and she's going to help put him away. And I'm so happy for her because I know for anybody, especially I know you guys know, when the person who did that kind of stuff to you is still out there living their life and you don't ever know if they're going to turn on you, that's a scary thing. As much as she was going through her life, moving on, getting married, having kids, she probably never really truly felt safe until he was locked up. And then with the amount of power he has, it's probably only so much safety she feels. But that's why I say I hope that they die, because truly that's the only way you really are free is once they are gone off this earth. But seeing her testify, then we turn around and Holly got that restraining order on DDG, Holly Bailey. And the women knew. I want to say that somebody who's been on Twitter, who's been a part of so many discourses, especially in Black Twitter spaces, the girlies knew. The aunties in my age bracket, we knew, and we were saying it. And so many men were, y'all trying to bring down the active father. Y'all just trying to bring that boy down, blah, blah, blah. It's always somebody trying to bring a man down when they're trying to hold a man accountable. Men bring themselves down. Let's talk about that. I saw somebody tweet, oh, well, men have to understand when you have a baby, that baby belongs to a woman in the government, not you. That's what DDG had to learn. And I thought about, with Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp had to learn that you don't mess with those white girls. Every time a man is accused of violence that he did do, that he absolutely did do to a woman, there's always a lesson he has to learn about just not messing with those type of women. Because they're basically telling you flat out, they're looking for the kind of women that they can continue to abuse and who don't say anything. And that's why I'm out here loving on the girlies who are speaking up. Because the more people speak up, the more we can really see this is not rare. The violence that men are enacting against women is not rare. It's common. They say 1 in 3 women are SA'd in their lifetime. And I believe it's every woman. I believe every woman has experienced some kind of violence from a man if she's lived long enough. I believe 1 in 3 is generous. So what you constantly see happening is men trying to discourage women from speaking up by putting out all these fake lessons that men have to learn in dealing with women. The best lesson a man can learn is to keep his hands to himself and respect the vessel of life. Respect how you got here, the portal through which you came. And if you can't treat women with respect, then get with a man. You don't have to date us. We don't need you to be around us. Get with a man then. If you can't be with a woman and treat her with respect and not scream at her and put your hands on her, date a man. I'm not even going to say don't date anybody because men act like they absolutely can't do that. So date a man. But stop putting your hands on us. We're not gonna sit up and make excuses for you guys anymore. The girlies are getting smarter. We're unpacking that internalized misogyny. We're gonna start listening to each other when we say that man put his hands on me. No, it wasn't a misunderstanding. No, that wasn't just a toxic relationship. That man is an abuser. And the words that man is an abuser need to be death sentences for men to be able to date amongst women. People want to talk about, the homophobia we had in the community, talking about DL men. Y'all be more scared of men that go out and have sex with other men on the low than men who are actually putting their hands on women and putting women in the ground. Because that's what domestic violence does. It kills us. We get unalived by it. And a man being accused of that, I don't need to hear anything else. I don't need to hear both sides of the story. There's no reason for me to take a chance on you. Having a man is never that serious. Now, we know there's psychological factors to it. Even somebody like me, I have been in a domestically violent situation. It was an emotionally and psychologically abusive relationship and not physical, but very, very, very traumatizing. So nobody is above falling into it, but I didn't have a warning. Nobody came to me and said, hey, that person's not safe. And not being educated, I knew the signs of physical violence, obviously, but I didn't know enough about emotional and psychological violence to really understand what was happening to me. And then once I did, with the support of others, get out of that situation. But now if somebody raised their voice, if I ever hear a man say something that doesn't sound right, he's out of here. I don't need to find out more. He doesn't need a second chance. Men don't deserve second chances. You're not going to get a second chance if he put you in the ground. So stop giving that man a second chance. He doesn't deserve a second chance. All the privilege and power men have in this society, if he can't get it right the first time, girl, get you another one. It's never going to be that serious. Get you another one or don't get any at all. So I'm happy. I'm happy to see the girlies listening to each other. I'm happy that we are talking about what is happening to us. I'm glad to see Cassie speaking out about what Diddy did to her. I'm glad to see Hallie get her restraining order. Get your restraining orders, lady. File them court papers. Because family court is really, 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 really not equipped to deal with abusers. So you need to have your paper trail together if you're going to try to protect your kid, because it's going to be an uphill battle. And on the note of a kid, don't be afraid to go and get an abortion. If the relationship is terrible, if you're not happy, a baby not going to make it happier. They're not. You're going to bring somebody into the world that's going to tether you to somebody who is a nightmare for at least 18 years. And if you got bad boundaries, that means you're going to have to learn how to enforce very, very strong boundaries while dealing with co-parenting and hope that person doesn't become violent with you again during that situation. In reality, it's not even really worth it. If the kid is here, your kid is here, then you just got to make the most out of it. You learn how to parallel parent. But if you don't have a kid, you still pregnant, you still in a state where you can get an abortion, you still in the time frame you can get an abortion, go and get you an abortion. Stop playing around. He's not going to get better. He's not going to stop putting his hands on you. You see what DDG did to Hallie, chipped her tooth in a car. They don't care about you. They don't look at you and see you as the person that gave birth to their son or daughter. You're just somebody that belongs to them. Somebody they can do what they want to do when they want to you. Let's wake it up, ladies. It's not a gender war. The men are telling you it's a gender war. It's just an attack on women. Wake it up. So you need to be moving strategically. You need to be thinking about protecting your life and preserving your life and having the best outcomes. If you're going to date, only expect the best. Do not settle for less. You know what I say about splitting bills with a man. Don't become no financial hostage to a man. If you're going to date a man, if you're going to risk your safety to date a man, only accept the best. Otherwise, get a vibrator or get you a nice, comfortable, low-maintenance dick appointment. One that is steady and sure. But don't move no man in your house, split bills, y'all arguing. He's destroying your peace, your hair falling out, you gaining weight from stress. You don't even look good anymore. You ain't engaging in your hobbies. Don't do that to yourself. It's not that there aren't loving relationships out here. I do believe that, but it's very hard to find them. The majority of men are socialized not to be good men. So good luck finding a good one. But the only way you're going to really find a good one is truly to set your standards high. If you lower your standards, you're going to get some low standard men. And the bar for men is already in hell. What more can you ask for? A lot more. So don't do it. We need to listen to each other. Women need to listen to each other, not men. Do not listen to what a man tells you about dating. If it's not your father or a brother who is very, very smart, don't listen to them. You need to be listening to other women. Find a woman who has the outcomes that you want. Ask her how she did it. What kind of standards did she have? But first and foremost, just realize you don't even have to be with anybody. Let it just happen. But if it happens, high standards. You don't want to end up in a bad situation that's going to set you back for years. That's what bad relationships do to women. And most people are going to have more bad relationships than not, unless you get it right the first time and y'all get married and are happily ever after. Decenter men, center money and peace. Moving on, let's talk about the Handmaid's Tale. Serena Waterford Wharton. I just want to know why. When she told that man, she thought he was going to be different, but he's just like the other men. Child, didn't you build this civilization? Of course he's like the other men. That's what really blew my mind about that scene, because I think that applies to the real world too. That's how they all get along. If they weren't alike, they wouldn't all be able to get along in society and keep that power together. If all the men in Gilead weren't alike, Gilead would not exist. That's why they hate Commander Lawrence. And hearing her say that, it really made me realize Serena is the perfect example of white womanhood, because she really thinks that she's going to have power on her own, and she gets upset. She gets flustered when they try to put her back in the place that she said women belong in the first place, because she's one of the architects of Gilead. But she expects to have special treatment. Her dreams, when she changes her mind about how she wants things to go, she expects for that to happen. And she actually expected to come back and marry this man in Gilead and then not have a handmaid, to the point where I don't even remember her discussing that with him. I was like shocked when he brought her out. But I was like, did they even ever discuss having a handmaid? She was so focused on the wedding and everything, getting that power back. She didn't even think about that. She didn't even think to ask him, did he expect to have a handmaid? And as a woman, as a divorcee, your first husband got killed. Why would you get married again? Why would you sign up for that? Why? Especially if he wanted to have some more kids. Your second marriage, if you get married again, it should be about money, nothing else. You do not get married for love a second time. Don't be crazy. And especially not when somebody's talking about having a bunch of kids with you. Like, this sounds like the second marriage from hell already, even if we're not in Gilead. Like, what are you doing, girl? All the worst to Serena Waterford, though. And am I wrong if I'm cool with Aunt Lydia getting stabbed? I was actually unhappy that did not happen. When that girl, the other aunt, was coming after her down the hall with that knife, I said, go on, jab her in the back. Just a couple times. Right quick, girl. Get rid of her. I'm tired of Aunt Lydia. I'm tired of Aunt Lydia. And then every time I see Janine, she's missing an eyeball. Why don't they pull Aunt Lydia's eye out? An eye for an eye. That is in the Bible. I am tired of Aunt Lydia. I don't care what it says in the Testaments. The next book, I don't care. Get rid of Aunt Lydia. She got to go. I want all the women who were woman gender traitors, the real definition of gender traitors, taken out. Serena got to go, and Aunt Lydia got to go. I don't care what happens to the men. I want all the men gone. I mean, Luke might can stay, but Nick's got to go too. I found that episode, though, overall a little underwhelming. I was expecting them to do a lot more stabbing and getting rid of people. And I got to admit, I was disappointed. There really wasn't as much action as I would hope that episode. It did feel like a filler episode, but that was the main thing I took away from it, is that Serena is, I've never been able to stand her. And the way that she heaped forgiveness on her, so it reminds me of like how white people try to act like, oh, black people are forgiving them for the stuff they've done. They don't ask us. They don't really want to seek our forgiveness. They just want to have it and say they have it so they can move on and keep doing what they're doing. That's exactly what she did. I truly can't wait for her, what she has coming. Some people want think that she's being redeemed. I see nothing redeeming about Serena. Serena's only happy when she gets what she wants. She does not care about any of the other women. Even when she freed that handmaid, that's just because she didn't want a handmaid in her house. She doesn't care. She had a whole bunch of handmaids at the wedding knowing they was going to go back to somebody's house and get held down and raped, and she didn't care about that. So she's not some noble person because she tried to free her handmaid. Absolutely not. And the last topic I'm going to touch on today, because like I said, I got this migraine. I'm about to go lay down after this. But I want to touch on the dating apps. I have left the dating apps alone. It's been a couple months. I left them alone because I went back to school and I wanted to focus on school, which this is my last week. Y'all send me strength to finish strong. But yeah, I was having a lot of success on them as far as fun, but what I realized, I do listen to Shira Seven sometimes on TikTok. I like a lot of what she has to say because I do believe she's right that women have low standards and you need to raise your standards if you're going to be in a relationship with a man. But one of the things she said that really struck to me is that men look at you on dating apps like they don't look at you as a real person. You're like something in a catalog to them, something that they can order and send back. And I do think that that's true. Now, it's very hard to get looked at as a real person anyway, being a woman. But I do think that that is exacerbated by the dating apps. I do feel like a man feels like, well, if this doesn't work out, I can just get back on the dating apps. I know I felt like that as a woman. Like, I really was just dating around. My goal when I got divorced, I said, you didn't date very much before you got married. Just go on a bunch of dates. And I did. I was going on 2 or 3 dates a week. I'm a pretty attractive woman. I do tend to pull a lot of different kind of men. So it was exciting. I was dating all kinds of men, different men from different income brackets. And it was fascinating. I learned a lot from many of them. But the main thing that I learned is, like I said, is that you can be very disposable to them. I had ones that wanted me to be their girlfriend, but I was not ready to settle down. And those were the less than desirable ones, if I could be honest. Like, those were the ones who you kind of knew that they looked at you as like, oh, I better get her off the market super quick. And I wasn't interested in that. I'm not really interested in being paired up long term. Even right now, I don't ever want a man to live with me again. My most ideal arrangement is I would have a guy, he would have a good deal of money, he would pay my bills, and then I would date him and we would meet up, but I still get to live my life. I don't have any interest in pairing up like that again. If you ever see me married again, rest assured it's for money and security, and he has a lot of things to do so he doesn't have to bother me. I'm not interested in love in a truly romantic sense anymore. Not that I don't want any romance, but that cannot be the foundation of a relationship I have. And so with that mindset, dating apps just aren't for me, and I had to come to that conclusion. But I'm also very cool with being alone. Like right now, that's why I'm so focused in on school and focused on my career. Like, I know the important things in life to me are making sure that my son doesn't grow up to be a misogynist, traveling, holding on to my home in this horrible economy. Like, those are the things that matter to me. Being beautiful, getting dressed up, working out, exercise, taking care of me. I'm very me focused. So I just realized that that's not the space for me. But I do want to give you guys a couple safety tips. If you are doing it, one, join one of those Are We Dating the Same Guy groups. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. I actually got in trouble in one of them because I kept calling the dudes and they're ugly. But they were. I was like, how are y'all talking about any red flags? And look at his face. That's a red flag. But anyway, so join those. Number 2, do not give them your phone number right away. That's one thing a lot of women do. If you give a man your phone number very soon on a dating app, he is going to use it to go through your social media, to look into you. He may even just follow you on social media and never ask you out so he can get his daily hit of your attractiveness, but never take you on a date. Don't exchange social media with men until you really, really know them. That's too much information for them to have. Those are the big things. And I would say, too, don't give anybody a chance. If he's not cute, don't, unless he got a lot of money, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, we got to start raising our standards with looks on men, too. I said that before on my Dad Bod podcast episode. We need to hold them to higher standards about how they look. So be shallow. We're on a dating app. It's pictures. Be a little bit shallow. And advocate for what you want at the end of the day. But, and you don't pay for the date. Never give a man money. Never, ever, ever. I saw somebody get romance scammed this week. So I'm going to say that again. There's no reason for you to give a man that you are not related to money. I wouldn't even give most men that I'm related to money. It'd have to be like a brother. And I know that he was down and out and really needed help, but do not give men money under any circumstances. Don't pay for dates. Stop being desperate. Stop being desperate. You can be by yourself, and giving a man money is a sign of desperation. He will never respect you. He will never think very highly of you because he will know that you do not think highly of yourself. So start thinking highly of yourself. You are a beautiful, intelligent, fun, and kind person. You're going to therapy. You're getting that degree. You're taking care of your kids. You're paying the bills. You are taking care of you. And you're caring. You're out here in the world loving on your girlfriends, loving on your children. You're volunteering. Those are the things that we're doing. We are doing great things and adding to the world. And we need to give ourselves credit for that. We need to treat ourselves in a gentle way, in a kind way because of that. Don't let anybody else treat you poorly at all. And when I say I mean in any way you can control. But treat yourself well. Put yourself on such a high pedestal that anybody that wants to reach you is going to have to really, really, really step up because you deserve that. You only have one life, one beautiful life, and you deserve the very best while you're here to get it. So I want you to think about that as we leave this week. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. I truly appreciate you. And I hope whatever you're going through this week, you figure out your solution. Hit me up if you want to chit chat about anything on the episode. Like I said, my Facebook page, or you can hit the text me feature on the podcast provider you're using. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll talk to you next week.